seen wounds inflicted this way before. Doctor, we have got to get out of here. Yes.
On this ship, we execute murderers.
Did you see that one, part of the Doctor Who story Earthshock? Or now here's our exclusive interview with Doctor Who himself. Doctor, I've been watching you and you're pretty smart. How come? Where did you learn so much?
Well, of course, every apprentice Time Lord on Gallifrey goes to the Academy, which, of course, you spend several years, anything up to 100 years at, so that one does tend to sort of learn quite a lot.
All right, if you're so smart, how come you have so much trouble driving the TARDIS and it always winds up in the wrong place at the wrong time?
Well, this comes back to the problem that started really about 20 years ago now, was when I ran away with the TARDIS from Gallifrey. I'm sort of a renegade Time Lord in a sense. I didn't really approve of what they were doing on Gallifrey, so I managed to find my way inside one of these TARDISes and escape. Unfortunately, it was a Type 40 TARDIS, which is, shall we say, not the most modern on the market and was very prone to going slightly wrong. I've done my best to repair it, but there are still, I'm afraid, several areas and could do with a bit of improvement. And I'm afraid the coordinate factor is one of those. I don't always end up where I'm meant to be going. In fact, I almost never end up where I'm meant to be going.
How come they always call you Doctor? Don't you have a first name?
No, I am the Doctor.
Just the Doctor?
Just the Doctor, yes. I think in one of my other regenerations, I was referred to occasionally as being Doctor Who, but that was in fact incorrect. I am the Doctor. Question mark, Doctor Who, question mark.
Oh, I see. One thing I've always wanted to ask is, how come the TARDIS on the outside is a police box, but when you go inside, it's so big? It doesn't make sense.
Well, I'm surprised you don't know about time and relative dimensions in space, which time and relative dimensions in space you'll realize spells TARDIS. And this is the concept upon which all TARDISes are based, that once you go within the actual doors of the police box or in the doors of the TARDIS, you go into, in fact, another dimension.
But how come we never see it when we look through the door, when the door's open?
Well, you obviously don't look hard enough, that's all I can say. Of course, it's not actually a police box when you see the word, when you see a police box. What that is, unfortunately, is another fault in the TARDIS. The TARDIS has a built-in chameleon circuit, which means that when it lands in any particular place, it assumes an identifiable object that will fit into the surrounding scenery. What has happened with the TARDIS that I stole, the Type 40, is that the chameleon circuit broke down when I landed on Earth for the first time, and it assumed a police box, and fortunately it's been stuck like that ever since.
It stayed the same.
It stayed the same.
And that chameleon, that's like that animal, the chameleon, that
that's right,
changes its colour wherever
right,
it is.
Yes, the chameleon circuit. But unfortunately, as I say, it's hasn't been working for some time now, but as to seeing through the doors, I think you just have to look a bit harder.
Well, how about the Daleks? Are they really finished? Are they really gone?
I think I would be very lucky if the Daleks were really gone. I'd be very lucky if I never met the Daleks. I have a sort of sneaking suspicion somewhere in the back of my mind that I shall meet up with the Daleks again.
You mentioned regeneration. That's when Doctor Who seems to die, and then the next time you see him, he's a different person.
That's
well,
right,
I think I've started getting suspicious about that it's really just a way of getting a new actor in to play Doctor Who, isn't it?
Really, that's a terribly naive attitude to take. Not at all, no. It's really that, obviously, when you use a body for several years, you know, your body gets a bit tired, you feel like looking a little different, feel like looking a little younger. I'm sure lots of people watching, look in the mirror every morning, want to look a little younger, look a little different. So, fortunately, we Gallifreyans, we Time Lords, are able to regenerate 12 times.
You've got 2 hearts, too, haven't you?
And 2 hearts, there's one there, and I am 750 years old.
In fact, when you're making this series, it must be very dangerous at times, like when the bombs go off and stuff like that. Do you ever get hurt? I mean, really hurt, the real
really hurt? Do you want me to speak truthfully?
Yeah.
It's actually, someone asked me this morning if I was afraid of making Doctor Who, and the only thing that really is, sometimes you get afraid of, is being blown up by the special effects department of the BBC. That can be a bit risky, as with the Cybermen blowing down the door in Earthshock, which was meant to be a fairly small explosion, and bits flew all over the place. But it's they know what they're doing, and they're very competent.
You mentioned the BBC. It's not made in Australia, is it, Doctor?
No, it's made in London at BBC Television Centre.
And is it as popular in England as it is here in Australia?
Oh, it's very popular in England, yes. It's really an institution.
It's lasted a long time.
Yes, 20 years, yes.
Oh, and finally, I wanted to ask you, is it fun being Doctor Who for Peter Davison?
Oh, it's very good fun, yes. It's immense fun. You have the opportunity to be in all different sorts of stories. One week you can be in a story set on another planet, millions of years in the future. The next week you can be in a historical setting, 400 years ago, 600 years ago, whatever. And you're always chased by different monsters, or maybe the...
And sometimes even pretty girls.
Yes, sometimes, if you're very lucky, pretty girls, yeah.
Peter, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Fire!
I should have realised.
So, we meet again, Doctor.
Another problem for the good doctor. I'm sure he'll solve it as usual. Oh, there's something else I wanted to mention too, and that's the Doctor Who technical manual for you Doctor Who fans. It's available at the moment at the ABC shop in Perth, and it's full of all the favourite Doctor Who characters. I notice it's got K9, the mobile, self-powered computer in it, and at this point I'd really like to thank Bradley Hicks, who is a student, and he built that K9 that we had on earlier in the program. So thanks a lot, Bradley. Also in the book I noticed there are the Cyberman and the Cybermat. I'm glad we haven't got things like that here in...
Where is the doctor?
Oh, no.
Where is the doctor?
I don't know. He's not here. He went off in the police
You
box.
will obey, or this television program will be exterminated.
Look, I promise you, I don't know where he is. He's gone. He went off in his
You
little box thing.
disobey, you must die.
No.
This television program here in the West has been terminated.